most importantly, I want to thank the members of the community and volunteers, people who have volunteered, who asked me to request this audit. And I'm very glad that this audit is finally done, and at my request and my motion, and I do thank the audit committee as well, because I know there's a lot of different audits we want to do. And when we prioritize an issue, it speaks, I think, volume to what the issue is. And I think one of the key things that have come out here is that, yes, we do have a responsibility to our taxpayers to run an efficient shelter and to run one that addresses the needs of the community. But we have an ethical obligation as well, and a moral obligation to also be responsible for the animals. And this audit, I think it's important that the city acknowledge the facts of the audit, and that the city staff itself take serious concern about all of the issues that it has brought up. And the number one issue that I think it has brought up since my time on the council to where we are today is the question of public trust with the audit. But the audit clearly identifies that there has been a breakdown in that trust. And one of the clear things that I want this audit to be is not just something that normally happens where we put it on a shelf and it gives recommendations and it may or may not change, but that it actually be a roadmap. And I address this to our city manager. This audit must be the steps to make our Front Street regain that public trust. And we're going to have to be working together. Community, the city, volunteers, the foundation, we have to be working together. And that's not going to happen unless the city regains its public trust. I want to move that the City Council accept this audit with a direct message that this become a roadmap for us to make improvements. I think that you've heard that over and over again from the public testimony, that the audit findings are significant and that they need to be responded. And what I would hope is that when you complete a finding or when you are making these improvements, that be communicated publicly back to those who have concerns. The Commission is one vessel to do that, and that the Commission, again, I've heard issues here too, that the Commission be given more ability to work with the department. Okay, this cannot be a combative situation. We have to be working stronger together. With that, Mayor, that's what my motion is that we move to accept the audit report and then have some clear deadlines on the policy changes and how those policy changes are going to be done back to the council. We need to be going and moving to developing a capital campaign and finding and looking for places where it would be suitable for something that we'll be proud of. But one thing that is also true is that we will never have a successful capital campaign if there isn't public trust in our facility. And as I mentioned earlier, we will only succeed in the responsibility to the taxpayers and the responsibility to our animals unless we're all walking together.
This audit, and I've looked at lots of audits through my time in public office, this audit is one that calls out for a very, very deep and extended undertaking to course correct for the department in my judgment. This work really covers a very, very broad range of nearly every activity engaged in by the department and I guess I should say the division. It's not an audit that says, you know, we're doing some things really well and we're doing some other things not so well, and we need to make some recommendations to address those things we're not doing so well. This speaks to almost every aspect of operation of the division. And that's of deep concern, frankly. This is a deep hole, frankly, to dig out of. And there's a long way to go. And so Actually, Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, I would offer a small friendly amendment which is I think we need to come back to this council with a future report from the division that the public has an opportunity to see and comment on, whether it's in 90 days or 180 days, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. I think the way we get that clear roadmap and then we have accountability on whether it's being implemented or not is for the issue to come back here. So how do we do a better job of preventing unwanted animals from ending up and being turned away? How do we reduce euthanasia of animals? How do we take better care of the animals that are in our custody as the city? And how do we do that without being able to build a new shelter or dramatically expand our capacity or a number of other things that cost money? That's the question I think we have to keep asking ourselves. For me, part of the answer, and a big part of that answer, is to put a much, much more heavy emphasis on spay and neuter.
And I also wanted to thank all of the community members that came out today who spoke so passionately about your concerns and the very much needed improvement that I think we are all in consensus that the improvement that's needed at Front Street. So really just want to say thank you for taking the time to come out here today to share your insights with the mayor and council. And want to take this moment to acknowledge the frustration that we all hear from each and every one of you. And I know that I don't just speak for myself, but my entire, all my colleagues, that we're going to do everything we can to improve Front Street. We know that this is such an important issue and we all care very deeply about it. The other piece I just wanted to mention that I absolutely agree with Mayor Pro Tem Guerra that this audit is the first step to continuous improvement, and that it is only good if we actually address the findings and actually implement accordingly, and that it can't sit on a virtual shelf. To echo, I think it's a good idea for us to have this audit come back to monitor the implementations of the recommendation, and so I'm in full support of that. I also agree that it's incredibly important that we continue to build public trust. And if the audit does come back and we're monitoring the recommendation, I do believe that it helps build that trust that may have been eroded. Something I just want to share, because I know that there's been a lot of frustration regarding perhaps management or city staff. I just want to share with the public that, you know, as mayor and council, we do not have the power, or it's not in our purview, to actually evaluate city staff. The only folks that we can evaluate is our interim city manager and our charter officer. That said, however, I actually would like to add an amendment to the motion on the table, because I would like to direct the city manager to actually utilize this audit to evaluate the performance of management at Front Street. I think that's really important. I know that that is not within the purview of City Council, but we can direct the city manager to use this audit as an evaluation performance. I think that's really key. I know the motion on the table is one, that we use this as a roadmap. Two, heard from Councilmember Dickinson that we have this item come back. And then the third I would like to add is to direct the city manager to utilize this audit as an evaluation staff performance at the management level as well.
Yeah, I'll agree, and I'll concur with that that direction to the city manager, because that is true. Our direct report is the city manager. Thank you, Councilmember Vang.
Yep.
I just want to reiterate a few points. One, this was an important audit, and it's come upon us to ask the tough questions. You know, not all these issues are easy. It's not all puppies and kittens and love sometimes. We all care about the same things, whether or not you work at our animal facility, or you serve on the commission, or you're an advocate for Friends of Front Street or Fix Front Street. We all care about our four-legged friends, and so we need to step it up and be better. I concur. Is what can we do more to do spay and neuter? I think Councilmember Dickinson is spot on. You know, we had this incident a couple months ago with this nonprofit that wanted to step up, and it didn't quite work out. So what can we do more, Director, to utilize our nonprofits to help? Because we can't do it all. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing None. We have one absence today, and Councilmember Maple. That measure passes. Thank you.